Hello everyone, welcome to the technical talk. I hope all are doing well. Today we are discussing about how AWS DynamoDB service works in Rust code, like how DynamoDB service we are written in a Rust code for creation and storing a payload address and keywords and CIDs. Okay, uh, let's start into a stream. Mm, Let me open VS Code. Okay. Um, Here we are, our application is first um, file distribution, firmware distribution over the air with IPFS. So here we are using cloud service, AWS cloud service. In that AWS cloud service, we used EC2 instance service, DynamoDB service, and secret manager service, S3 bucket storage for storage storing firmware versions. So these are the services we are using in this project. So interplanetary file system using firmware over their updation. In this one, mm, we'll just look into a code once. Okay, uh, wait a second. Yeah, okay. Here, what we are doing, um, whatever the code we are seeing right here, which is written in Rust code, totally in Rust code. For this, we are used as some creds we are using here. It's in cargo.toml. For IPFS APIs, these are the dependencies we are using. IPFS API, Tokyo versions, and Tokyo Stream, and then AWS SDK DynamoDB. This is helpful for the creation of a DynamoDB and how we are creating a DynamoDB table. Then what is how we are adding a different table for in DynamoDB tables. In this project, we are using first file name. Then next is a payload. Payload is mainly useful for the storing a key there. Like whatever the key we are generating from the IPFS, which is called as a CIDs. Those CIDs we are storing in a DynamoDB table. And then we are having a dependency of AWS configuration. This is helpful for the how we are configuring the AWS services. Then OpenSSL. These are the dependencies we are using in this project. So okay, let's get into a main code. So here, sorry for that. Okay, in this one, uh, just we are by seeing the name of this AWS DynamoDB cred. This Rust code is uses AWS DynamoDB Rust code cred for interact with the AWS DynamoDB table. Okay, uh, let's come to this point. Okay, by seeing this 46th line 46, here we are creating a config keyword. For in that config keyword, we are loading a whole AWS configuration. So here, what is the in this line we are doing? This line loads the AWS configuration from environment variables uh, and store it in the config variable. The This allows the code to authenticate and authorized with AWS services. Okay, this line represents the same thing. Then let's come to the second line of the that code, 47th line. Here we are creating whatever the this line sets the name of the DynamoDB table. Whatever the table we are creating in DynamoDB, it's for that CID table. We are giving a name as a CID table and interact with this with the table. Okay, it will load into a table name whatever we are giving. Then after that we are create a DynamoDB client as well, right? In that DynamoDB table. So in this line, creates a new instance of the DynamoDB client using config variables. Okay, as the configuration, the client will be used to perform operation on the DynamoDB table. This will create all DynamoDB client in whatever the AWS service we are using, DynamoDB service. There we are configuration of the new client for that. Okay. After that, what we are using, directly entering to the line 53 to uh, 59. This is the async function. For that, we are using await also here. Dot await we are using. In this one, the line is defined operation to uh, add an item to the DynamoDB table using put item. This put item uses for the adding whatever we are using, right? See here, construct a fluent builder for the put item operation. The builder is configuration like this. Okay, here we are mapping attribute name or value of pairs uh, for creation of these things. Then let's come to the next thing. Table name, whatever we are giving here, right? CID table name, it will come here, right? The name of the table to contain the items. Okay, next line. Uh, Item ID and payload. As I mentioned in mentioned earlierly, um, to 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 access method is used to create an attribute value for the type string. Okay, here whatever we are using key values like id and payloads, these items we are using whenever cid will get from the ipfs node, that cid we are putting into a payload table, payload section. Then id is we are referring as a whatever file name we are using, giving, right? That file name comes under id place item. Okay. Then send is however it sends the request to the return the responses to AWS DynamoDB table from table. And also if an error occurs, STK error will come, and if not, it will build the table. Okay, this is continuously running whenever file receiving from the AWS sorry, IPFS network. Whenever we are getting CID from IPFS network, we are storing into a DynamoDB table. So let's look how DynamoDB mm, looks like in AWS uh, website. Okay, let's get into this one. In AWS network, AWS web services, here so many services are there. Here one of the services DynamoDB. Okay, here in this DynamoDB, whatever I shown in a code, right, CID table. Here we are creating that tables. Here, see, so this is whatever we created as a table here. This contains all the short keys and capacity mode. Is this that table is active or not, and alarms. Uh, as of now, we stored 53 items in this AWS table. Mm, I will show you how AWS stored the files and all. So see here. Here we are in ID column. We created two columns for the for in CID table. Those tables are see here. One is for ID, one is for payload. Payload is mainly storing CIDs. Right? CID means in IPFS, Interplanetary File System. CID stands for the code content identifier. A content identifier is unique identifier used to represent the content in a IPFS network. It is string characters that represents the content's cryptography hash, along with a prefix that identifies the encoding algorithm used in generation of the hash map. Okay, this is how CID looks like. Unique. It will create every file in unique identification, unique address. CID will get. So that CID from IFFS CID will get that CID we are storing in a payload section, payload table, and whatever the file we are creating from uh, pushing pushing to the cloud, that IFFS file name we are generating here. This is how AWS DynamoDB table looks like in our code. So okay, I hope you all it's informative for you guys in DynamoDB service creation in Rust code. Okay, uh, we'll again come to the new videos with a new topic in next week. Okay, bye.